my name is Joe. Welcome to my beerlogger app. So before we get started, just gotta make sure everyone's over 21 since this is a beer app. So if you are not over 21, go ahead and close your eyes. So just to jump in real quick, if we go ahead and press this yes button to say we are, we'll be taken to the home page, but you will be brought in as an unlogged in user. So I'm just gonna have us log in real quick as an example user that I created, just so we can kind of get into the meat of things right away. So here's our screen. You'll see we have a couple beers on tap already. One of the first things you might notice is there are a couple edit buttons here for a few beers, but actually one of the beers is missing that. That beer was actually created by a different user. So you can see on this page, we actually allow a user to see all the beers that have been created, but can only edit their specific beers. So let's just jump into one right here. So you'll see, again, excuse the styling here, but you'll see kind of the information about the beer. So we've got name, type, ABV, this cool little label picture. Then we have, you can edit, which is actually just editing the review page or the review down at the bottom. You can delete the beer if you're the user who created the beer. And then you can also add to a night, which I'll get into in a minute. And then lastly, you can add comments. So as you see, I already have a comment here, but we can add another one. So this beer is great. As you see, I've already written that already. So there you go. Now I've commented on this twice. Let's go ahead and delete it again just to make sure it works. And there you go. So just jump into probably my favorite part about this app is the add beer. So here it's a pretty simple form, just name and review. So the review can be left blank if you have nothing to say, or if you do, then great. So I'm going to go ahead and type in my favorite beer, which is Surly Furious. You see I've looked it up before, but I promise it's not already in the database. We're going to say this is the best beer. Let's create it. And so there you go. So now it shows up right on the site. So here, this is where kind of the cool stuff comes in that I'm probably most proud of on this site, is that if you click in here, it's actually already filled in the type and the ABV here. So we actually did that, or I actually did that by using BreweryDB's API. Connected that. I'll show you the code in a little bit. But so it basically just brings up the type, it brings up the ABV, and it gives us this cool little picture. So before I get into that though, really quick, I want to jump into this My Night section, so this add to night. Kind of the point of this app is to not only add beers that you're drinking just on kind of the main public site, but then to also have a log for specific nights that you've had. So I've already created this Thursday night here. That would be the night that I'm recording tonight. You'll see here that I have a Budweiser, or maybe 3 Budweisers. Let's go ahead and add the Surly beer as well, because it is, again, the best. So click on Thursday night, and then add tonight. So it'll bring us here, and there you go. We've had a Surly Furious. So this little thing here, this button, will actually add beers as you go, so you can keep a tally on top of it showing which beers you've drank. And yeah, that's kind of sort of the main premise of this. And then lastly here is the profile page. So any beers that you've created will actually show up on your profile page. You'll see this profile, myself, has created 4 beers. We could add more, and they will also pop up here. And then kind of the cool thing here is that I used AWS to be able to choose a photo. So let's choose a new one and change my user image. Go ahead and change it. It'll load for a minute. And there we go. There's a new one. This is me at Oktoberfest with a friend of mine. So that's pretty much the majority of the site. And then if you sign out, it actually brings you back to the over 21 page with a cool little flash message. So just jump into the code really quick. This is just kind of my favorite piece of code here. This is calling the API from BreweryDB. So you'll see we used the HTTP party gem that Andy Kim actually kind of led us onto earlier. So all it does is it pulls the URL from the API page, and now we can just dump the data into different variables and call them within our controllers. There are a few other pieces of code that I really enjoyed playing around with. If you have any questions, questions, my email will be in the YouTube site, so feel free to pop over and ask me a question. Thanks for